How are we doing, everybody? Jay here from Just Technics. Apologies for the lack of content over the last few weeks. There's been some personal issues that's basically affected my family, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's not been very nice. So if you're waiting for replies from me, emails or anything in particular online, it's not going to be too much longer, and all I can do is apologise. But moving forward from all of this, we're going to talk to you, well, I'm going to talk to you all today about new old stock. So there's a few bits to talk about with this. We've got starting with pitch controls. These are genuine Panasonic or Alps, whatever you want to call them, Panasonic slider units produced by Alps. As you can see, they're in two separate different boxes. So we've got this pair purchased from one company, this pair purchased from another company. There is no difference between these whatsoever. If you look at the serial numbers on these boxes and everything else on them, SFDP122-2481. These are PCB assembly units with the pitch control slider unit and everything already attached. I'll grab my knife. I'm going to open one of these for you on video. This is the first time these have been opened. These actually all belong to a very good friend and customer of mine called Ben. I'm basically rebuilding his turntables and using a lot of new old stock components. And I thought before I just start tearing into everything, I'll show you what some of the new parts look like. Right, so this is the first one. And as you can see, you have your potentiometer that's preset. So all you have to do is pop this straight into your turntable. You've got the mounting plate across the top with a brand new LED, brand new wiring harness with a new style wiring harness. Oh yes. And as you can see here as well, everybody's under this illusion that all these sliders should be absolutely silky smooth. And I know how many times I tell people this. That's simply not the case. So if you listen to this, you can hear there's a slight roughness to them. They are still smooth, not silky smooth, but Technics smooth is a little bit different to just about any other turntable. So if you were comparing this to like a Reloop or any Super OEM deck where they feel buttery smooth, like the Pioneers for an example, you'll find there's a slight difference in the way that these feel. But it's nice, you can tell them a mile off. Now usually these preset resistors, I think they're set to 2.9. Everyone seems to be going by the old service manual specifications when they calibrate slider units. Now, depending on what condition turntable you have and what year manufacturer your turntables are, it's not always the case to set these genuine units at 2.7K. This is 2.9 and there is a reason for it. Again, I'm not going to go into too much greater detail on this because you never know who's watching these videos, but on the same note, if you do this for a living, you should know what you're doing anyway. But I just wanted to show you that this is what a genuine unit looks like, fresh out of its box, new old stock. So these are all going to be exactly the same. That can go back in here for the time being. So my customer dropped these off to me yesterday, so it's Tuesday today. So you're probably not watching this and probably till the weekend, I would imagine, but either way, it's still a video. So we've got 4 brand new slider units. Also, just to compare as well, because this is also very, very important, this is what a genuine slider unit box looks like on either the brown box or the white box. Now you're probably thinking this is a bit OTT, Jay, and why am I bothered about this? Look at anybody else that's apparently selling genuine units that have been redesigned and ignore them, because this is what they look like. This is genuine. This is what a genuine unit looks like. These are the original tags on the end, so sticky tags with Japanese writing. That is what they look like, guys, okay? Don't be fooled by packaging that looks similar. This is what the original sliders look like. And that is the end of that. Let's move on to the next thing in the list, shall we? What else has he brought down for me to look at? We have got, oh look, genuine, brand new in its packaging, pitch control plastic knob. Nothing too exciting, but that's again what they come, as they come from new, in a little plastic sleeve. So that's pretty easy, and usually these come exactly the same as this unless people want to put them in little jiffy bags without the box. Nothing too exciting with that one there. What else have we got here? Plastic surround. Now this isn't new. I can notice straight away that this is not a new unit. They come in white boxes usually if they're brand new. I don't think you can buy these anymore now. They're not a current product, but when you could buy these, they tend to have the surrounds that haven't got the brass inserts anymore. They tend to be black plastic all the way through, like on the newer units. But that is a used unit, and the reason he's purchased this is because one of his original 1200s has a chip on the plastic base, so the operation base assembly. So that can go there with his address on the other side, so that's out the way. What else have we got? Right, pitch trims are these? Yep, so brand new pitch trims, genuine pitch trims as well. So these are what genuine pitch trims look like. So you see there's two different types here, two different styles of graphic. And if you look at the back of the units, it's a very, very easy way to tell if something is genuine or not. The first thing would be the adhesive backing on the back. So Nito number 500, as you can see, it's on both of these units. There's another way of telling genuine to aftermarket, which I'm going to show you right now if I can find a trim. Hang on just a second, guys. Oh, where have I put it? No, I can't find the bloody thing. I can't find it. I've misplaced it. Sorry, guys. Right, anyway, what I'm trying to explain is, you see how the adhesive backing goes? If you look at it from, let's just take out the pack, I'll show you. That's just me showing you instead of just presuming. So there's two things to tell with this. First one is, look at the way that the adhesive backing is stuck down on the slider. You see how it's all the way in the recess and goes across down? And it's absolutely flush. With aftermarket units, this section isn't pushed all the way in, it's simply just stuck down and stuck across. So if you imagine there's a slight gap between the corner from here to here, where the adhesive isn't actually touching anything. So what I do with these, if I'm using third-party units, is a good quality one, DJ Spares for an example. I'll cut from top to bottom going down on the adhesive, put my thumb through it and push the adhesive down. So it gives the same effect as this, then pull the backing off and stick them down. The other thing that you can't really see on here on the camera is that these genuine units actually have a protective plastic vinyl covering over the top. Now, what a lot of people tend to say to me whenever they buy these genuine and try and pop these on is why they look so horrible compared to the originals. And like I've just said, if you look very carefully, you'll see that they don't really look very clean, do they? So there's a plastic covering on these that you have to literally just get a little blade or a little something very unharmful, like a little plastic spatula or something, pick the corner and the whole thing lifts back. I'm not going to take this off purely for the fact of these cements are designed to stay on for installation purposes without you scratching or scuffing. But not that it's really easy to do that, but we'll keep that on. So you get a plastic cover on the top, Nito number 500 backing on the back, and the way that the adhesive sheet is laid down, it goes flat across the top into the edge and down on here as well. And the third-party units do not have plastic coverings like this. They have a plastic stick-on covering that covers the unit, but there's nothing that covers over the recess in exactly the same way. And this goes for 1200 and 1210 Mark II slider units as well. Now, this other one here with the backing looks slightly different on the bag. Not the backing, sorry, the sticker. This is exactly the same procedure. I can tell instantly that this is also a genuine unit due to the backing on this and also the design and the covering on the actual trim itself. So they're both genuine units and they're going to go on the back in the box there and put to one side. Next on the list, now I opened this up in front of my customer Ben when he was here yesterday. This is a genuine 1200 Mark II tone arm unit. Now these are very hard to come by now. You're paying mega money for these if you want the originals. But this was box fresh. This is the first time I've had this out of the box since me and Ben looked at this when he was down here on to yesterday. So brand new, box fresh, everything new. You can see just by how shiny everything is on here. Tube is lovely. Central housing is very, very nice. Pivots are nice and clean. The wiring is another giveaway as well. Look at the way that the wiring is obviously wrapped around the rod for the anti-skate. It's box fresh. The pivots as well, the bearings. If you look at this, if I move the bearings, just to give you an idea of how loose this is. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. And the same thing goes for the up and down movement of the arm too. Should still move even though the wires are tangled around, and as you can see, there's no resistance there at all. It's lovely and free moving. Now these arms, they've jumped up in price dramatically. I mean, you can imagine, because they're hard to get hold of now, some people would charge a fortune for them. Now, if you're experienced with repairing these, if you, say for an example, you smash the housing, you can obviously buy 3D printed housings. If you hit the housing, but the housing's okay, but you hit it on the arm and you crease the tube, or the tube is bent in any way at all, you can just purchase replacement tubes. Don't be put off now by people that buy these abroad, for an example, the tubes themselves, buy them by batch abroad. There was a big problem with them when they, early on models, when they made them, they were slightly heavier. Well, I say slightly, they were a lot heavier than the genuine units. Now that the guys over at China have done a very good job of replicating them, the only ones I tend to find issues with now are the gold tubes, or gold style tubes. I tend to stick away from them. These are the ones that you want to go for if you were going to go for aftermarket, but this being a genuine unit, you haven't got to worry about anything. It's always the simplest bet of having a perfect tone arm assembly, instead of having to re-mill bearing housings and popping new bearings in, having to polish up the pivots and sharpen the pivot points, or even changing the points altogether. This is the easiest way of ensuring that you have perfect calibration, or perfect playback of any of your records, just buying a new assembly. Like I say, they used to be, you could pick these up for about £90. eBay was a classic seller for these, really. There was lots of these exactly the same on eBay for 90. The Technics 1210 model, so the black version of this arm in any model at all, they were considerably much higher, because the 1210 model was much more popular in terms of replacing the arms. And I don't understand why they're exactly the same deck, but the solution was this. Anybody that used to have 1210s, that had a knackered arm assembly, you could simply buy this assembly for £90, take everything apart, take the central housing and the tube out with the socket, replace the part you need, and then simply change the parts over, give the parts back to the customer, and you've then got all of this spare assembly here for another job if you were going to do that. Obviously, if you've got a 1200, you can just charge them the amount for the arm, and you can just pop this, take the old one out, pop this in place, and you've got a fully working arm. But what a lot of people seem to be doing at the moment is using parts from new ones, keeping everything else, and not giving the parts back to customers. And this has happened quite a lot recently with some of my very unlucky customers. But there we go. So that's a brand new 1200 Mark II arm assembly, or tone arm assembly. The last thing on the list, there's two items on here, isn't there? So that's an empty box for a rubber base. We'll ignore that. But there's two things here that we need to make you aware of. There is a brand new box fresh plimps, but there's a story behind these. Unknown to my customer, because he's in such a hurry to get these and he's really excited to get them, and it's gone way beyond the period now of him being able to return them. One of them is new and one of them is not. Now, let's start with the one that's new. It's a shame, but they're in lovely condition, so he's not too bothered about this. Let's turn this camera a little bit further down so we get a better angle with this, because I'm going to show you in detail what you need to look for with a brand new box fresh plimp. Now, depending on how these are stored and how these are packaged, they may not even be in these boxes anymore. They may be in different boxes. This particular one was obviously purchased from Able Pro. Okay, that's another very well known DJ spares, you know, store over on the web, but they don't really ship anything to the UK, unfortunately, anymore. But again, genuine unit in its genuine box. This has been opened up with me and Ben, but it was opened up. It's got their quality control sticker on the top. Now, I don't quite understand as to why they've done this, considering it is a brand new unit. That would put flags in my mind straight away. But in defence of Able Pro, this is a brand new unit. Because when you open this up and you actually see the condition, and there's a lot of telltale signs as to why this is a genuine unit. But look how clean and gorgeous this is. Everything about this. So again, surrounds for pop-ups, not there. You've got the pitch trim is lovely and clean. Not a speck of dirt anywhere on this as expected. Pitch trim has never been mounted. The thing to look out for with plimps, if someone's trying to sell you a brand new plimp, is wear marks. Anywhere, to be fair, wear marks, but the most obvious ones are where the threads go into, or the bolts go, obviously where the bolts go into the threads of the plimp. If everything is still dull, like they are on this, every single mounting point on this plimp is dull and not shiny. This means it's never been used. No bolts or screws have ever been touched on this plinth. The other thing you need to look out for, you see around the power supply, the transformer assembly itself, you see the three mounting points. What usually happens with turntables that have had worn plimps or they've been physically used, you'll get round marks around the sides of the actual mounting points. You may get dirt, you may get scuff marks. The other thing to look out for is where you have on a lot of the Mark II models, for an example, when you use dust covers, is look out for any wear or tear marks around the top section of where your sockets would be for your dust covers, because again, every single pair I see that comes through this door, they're all marked. Also things like where the bar goes across for your transistor with the thermal paste, look for anything that's untoward there. But that is a genuine unit. It's beautifully clean, extremely nice, and I'm looking forward to building this up for my customer Ben, my good friend. That one can go back in the box, but what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you the second plinth, which is a shame. It's not brand new, unfortunately. Now, obviously my customer thought it was, so I'm going to quickly put this to one side, unbox the other one, and show you what to look out for. Now, this is obviously an eBay purchase. Again, though, this particular plinth also comes inside Panasonic packaging, as you can see on there. There's a sticker over the top there, but the thing's covered in tape everywhere, so it's a bit the alarm bell straight away with me for this one when the minute I open the wrapping. So again, if I take this out of the bubble wrap completely, now I looked at it straight away and thought something doesn't look quite right with this. Now you can probably make this out as well if I just hold this down. Can you see on the transformer here? For a start, there's wear marks there from underneath the transformer. You've also, if I hold this at an angle, remember I was telling you about the rings for the rubber sections that hold the actual power supply in? They're on them. This has had a power supply mounted. The threads themselves as well, I don't know if you can make this out on the camera, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but every socket on here, every thread has been used. It's going to be a lot harder to try and show you. But you can also see where the bar support and bar for the transistor at the top has got wear marks there where it's been. What else are we looking for here? So again, they've cleaned the pitch trim section up quite nicely. But there's one thing the eagle-eyed among you will notice that a lot of people won't. If I turn this upside down, we've got a pitch trim installed, guys. Not pitch trim, shader cloth installed on the back, which has actually got signs of dirt on it. This is blatantly from a used turntable, and you can tell by looking at all of the threads. Again, it's so hard to try and show you this, but all of the threads on these have all been used. They're super shiny inside where the bolts have physically been mounted, including the start and stop assembly. And the other point that gave this away to me straight away, like I said, if you look at this, if I move my light a bit closer, if you look here, you see that line mark there? That is one of the hinges for your dust cover sockets, and the same thing goes for this one as well. I don't know if you can pick this up. There you go. Can you see that? Not only is it marked there, it's marked here as well. So it's very unfortunate, and this is a very crafty seller that's done this. But this is a used plinth. Admittedly, it is in nice condition. I'm not just turning around and saying, oh, watch out for everything. It is in nice condition, but principle is if you purchase something brand new, it should be exactly that, brand new, not something that's been removed from a used turntable. I'd sell that as used. I wouldn't sell that as new. And it's blatantly not a new unit. But either way, shader cloth's going to be removed. I'll try and get as much of this dirt and crud out of here as possible. And there's not really a lot on this. We'll start rebuilding this anyway. But yeah, so that's basically the score with this, guys. So we've got one plinth that's used. We're going to put this on one turntable. We then got a fully brand new box fresh plinth that's going to be used with the box fresh arm. Ben's got a slightly bent tone arm on one of his decks. He had them serviced from a very well known service engineer. And they came back, they were damaged by UPS, along with some really thick cables that I wouldn't really recommend bending inside. Pitch controls that he couldn't use at all, hence why he's purchased 2 sets of these, and there's a reason why there's 4 of them, because they all belong to Ben. His girlfriend has a set of turntables here as well, so we're popping brand new genuine pitch slider units on all 4 of them. Ben's provided all of this, so before you all start messaging me going, oh my god, you can get hold of genuine pitch units, no, these were new old stock. The only people that will have these physical units, this is how it works, guys. You can't buy these brand new anymore. The only ones you can buy are the replicated versions, or what I class as third-party units. One particular seller sells them in boxes very similar to this, but they are not the same. They are not genuine, so do not fall for that, okay? A lot of people are, and so the majority of people that do that contact me, ask me the question, look at these decks, send them down to me, and I tell them straight away by taking pictures they're not genuine. So, what I was coming from this. Oh yeah, the only people that will have these particular slider units, these slider units available will be people like myself. If I had a rack full of new old stock, we're lucky enough to have these sitting on the racking, gathering dust, because people do not want to spend the money for these units. There's a big difference between spending, say for example, if you're in the UK, about £30, to buying an entire unit like this with the board attached for about 120 if you're lucky now. So Ben actually, from what I remember, he's got quite a few of these, and he purchased these all at the same time, and cleared one particular seller out of stock just by buying them. So yeah, he's done quite well to get them. So him and his girlfriend are going to have fully working, fully rebuilt units with brand new sliders, a brand new arm, new shaders, genuine shader cloths. They're going to look great. And obviously you're all going to be seeing this live once I've done this and pop these all together when I do another video. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you that, guys, more than anything. And again, like I say, apologies for the lack of content. A lot's been going on in my personal life. It's not been very nice. And it's the last thing, to be fair, I wanted to be doing was, doing videos and things. And I hope you understand. So there have been some nasty comments. I've removed a couple as to why I haven't responded. One in particular I've actually left on the page. I'm not sugarcoating anything. If you've got a problem, you need to speak to me. And if you genuinely have a question for me, with the greatest of respect, it was really important, and you don't think that I've got the message, or you think I'm ignoring you, give me a call. It takes 2 seconds. But if you're not in the UK, I'm afraid, guys, it's a no-go when it comes to service and customization. I only deal with UK customers. I used to deal with people outside of the UK. Problem is, courier costs are too expensive now. And say for argument's sake, you do have a problem with something, then it's going to cost an absolute fortune, cost me a fortune, getting it collected, getting it back, repairing the work out of my own pocket, then sending it back to you. Very rare that issues ever occur, but it would be sod's law, obviously, that someone from outside the UK will have an issue, and I'll have to pay out of my pocket an absolute fortune. So until things get cheaper, guys, it's UK only, I'm afraid. But there we go. I think that'll do for the time being, everybody. What else can I show you quickly while I have you? There is something else I can show you. Where have I put that? Hang on a second. Right, I'm going to show you now, this is from another customer unit that got dropped off today, what a genuine grounding cable looks like, and also what a genuine Panasonic audio cable looks like. Now, we'll start with the grounding cable. It's so annoying, these. So grounding cables, guys, that's in 2 bags, that. It's a bag within a bag. There we go. Grounding cables are always a funny one, because depending on which ones you buy, you tend to find that they're not as long as the actual audio cable themselves. Now, in my experience with these cables, this is genuine, in my experience with these cables, any turntable I've ever taken apart with a genuine audio cable attached, and a genuine earth cable, they've all been the same length as each other. It's only been recently, whenever you buy these units brand new, or Panasonic units brand new, that the grounding cable seems to be shorter. So let's just, for argument's sake here, if I put this the same level as your phono cables, and then I move this back, you'll see here that the cable is quite a substantial amount shorter than that of the audio cable. Now, a lot of people that do this for a living will tell you that this is how they are. Then one person in particular will tell you that this cable is exactly how they were from new, and every turntable has this like that, which is a load of rubbish. So my theory on this is this grounding cable here is obviously a Panasonic unit. There's no doubting this, But whether this is from a Technics 1200 or 1210 turntable is another story. This is just the grounding cable that's been provided and made by Panasonic to fit a turntable, just not a Technics 1200 or 1210. That's my theory on this, and that's why it's obviously shorter. And I think anybody out there that has brand new Technics, if you check your cables right now and you've bought them from new, in fact, yeah, do it for us, guys. If you've got your Technics in front of you, check your cables and see how long your cables are. Whenever I build my own cables, the grounding cable is either slightly longer than the connector points for the RCA cable, or they'll be the same size, but tend to be this little bit longer, just for a bit of peace of mind with your cables. So these again are genuine cables from Panasonic. Not really any markings or anything apart from just quarter of the way down the cable that you can barely make out. But again, it is a genuine cable. And it's considerably better than a few of the aftermarket ones that you will find. Good capacitance on them. And there we go. This isn't for Ben's deck, by the way, guys. This is for another customer, like I've just explained. So, yeah, if you're lucky enough to find genuine units, that's what they look like. But for the same amount of money of just buying that cable, you can get a really good aftermarket cable with braiding and everything else from me when you book in for a service. You cannot buy cables from me separately. And again, these are not current products, so you're not going to find these anywhere, unfortunately. Right, I think we're going to leave it there, everybody. That's pretty much everything I can show you now. There isn't really anything else I can show you that's new old stock that's happening with these bookings. So I think we'll call it a day there with the video, and yeah, and obviously the next time you'll see this will be when it's been fully built. They'll both be built up with all loads of new parts, and I'll talk you through that. But there's also another pair that I'm currently working on, which are being wrapped in satin vanilla white. Looks gorgeous. They both look lovely. Bright white with white LEDs. Beautiful looking turntables. And they're being wrapped this week. So keep your eyes on the page, and I should have them done by the middle of next week. I would have thought I'm back with my customer. So thanks for watching, everybody. Any questions or comments, pop them down below. And like I say, keep it polite, please, everybody. I don't reply back to everyone straight away at the moment. I'm pretty much caught up when it comes to comments and messages and emails. Facebook's been a nightmare, Instagram's been a nightmare, WhatsApp's been a nightmare, and everything just in general. It's been all over the place. So if you do send me over a message, and you have done in the last couple of weeks, please don't think I'm ignoring you. I like replying back to everybody. I just need to spend the time now and get this done. And I'll probably get them sorted over the bank holiday, because in the UK we've got the Jubilee, so we've got obviously Thursday and Friday. I am working, so I can work to catch up with the messages. And there we go, everybody. And if you're in the UK, enjoy the bank holiday, which is coming this week. And I'll speak to everybody again, hopefully either over the weekend or beginning of next week. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Take it easy.